Welcome back to the GLAC Studios oil painting tutorial. We are in class 8, continuing to paint the portrait of a baby girl. And we will start with the recap of what we have been doing so far. We started our class discussing basics about brushes, oil paints, and canvases and so on. And then we did our first layer, the basic layer with nature color. I used brown, and then we did something called golden ratio, a little bit of math, dividing the canvas into segments for us to place our subject. Then we did the placing of the subject. Once we are done with that, we started with the second layer, which is the blocking or filling. In a manner, we decided where things will go, how things will look like. So not a clear detail, but a generic level blocking. After that, we moved on to do the third layer, which is a little more into detailing, but not too much of detailing. But this layer helped us decide on certain things much more in terms of colors, because the second layer was not necessarily color oriented. We stuck to the brown, the nature color, mostly to define areas of dark and light. But now we try to go into more of the colors that would come up as the real colors of the picture. So that's what we did in our classes before. Before I get on to the next layer, the fourth layer, there are certain things that I would like to address. Like, for example, the brown that I have been using. I have been showing the brown as Van Dyke brown that I use. Some of you might not have this in your palette. That is also fine. The brown that you use from your 12 color pack could be slightly less darker, so the tonality might be different from what you have achieved as compared to what you see here in the camera. So because of the colors that you have been using, like the brown or the green, maybe because I was using olive green, and most of you might have the set usually has something called sap green or mild green. So you never know what you did with that. And if you are really wondering why the color is not exactly the same as what I'm seeing on the camera, that is perfectly fine. Do not be in a state of frenzy that the colors are not coming right. The logic, most important logic that you should have caught into right now is the logic of light versus dark, and the logic of distance versus what is near you. To define that, you are using colors in different tonalities. So if your brown is not really dark enough to show certain things, maybe you can add slightly a bit of ivory black. And likewise, if the green you think is not dark enough, you can try adding slightly brown. So find some color tonalities that are near to and that will enhance the color without changing the color basic itself. Like if you add slightly, and again, when I say slightly, it's only should be in the tip of your brush. So always when I say slightly add a color, I would expect that you are only filling the tip of the brush and trying to mix and seeing for yourself, is this the color that you want? And maybe if you want more, you can add one more tiny bit or drop slightly. So do not worry too much about the colors. We are, like I advised in the first few segments, The brand that you are using could be different, so the color tonalities could be different. That is perfectly fine. We have to be able to establish light versus dark in a justifiable manner. That is the whole point. So do not worry too much into that. That's one thing. Again, the brushes. I have been using round brushes. If you feel comfortable with flat brushes, different sizes, that is also fine. So need not necessarily be that you have to use the same brush that I pick up. I show it for the benefit of the viewers to know what exactly I'm doing. So it doesn't mean that every single step needs to be followed to the T. You can adjust things to your own comfort if you feel, because there are also brushes that are tiny, minute ones. It's called zero brushes or 0 by 3, whatever they call it. So these are even more thinner, and if you feel comfortable using such thinner brushes in some delicate places, that is perfectly fine. Do that. So that's about what I wanted to share regarding the color palette. So do not worry too much about the color palette. See if you are achieving light versus dark wherever needed. Okay, so are we ready now to start the layer 4? I am totally excited because this is where we get to see some sort of reality close to where we want to go. Yeah, we are getting one more step closer. That's what we are going to do. And for that, you have seen me using the oils, and I have always used the raw cold pressed linseed oil. That's what I have here. And you have seen me pour it into a small metal lid where I am using the oil. But from now on, you will see me having 2 metal lids. I want to show you this. So this one is already been used for a while. And if you see, it's already darker tonality because I've been using this tin or metal lid for a while, and I use this as a point for me to what do you call use oil where I need darker color tones. So I have 2 lids. So the first lid is what you saw right here with a lot of colors in it. So it's a little bit dirty, and my students also call it dirty lid. And then I have a clean lid where I have poured little more oil. Yeah, and this clean lid I use for lighter colors like titanium white, wherever I am using a lighter tonality. It is just that I don't want to use brushes that I have used on, let's say, brown, and put it on the oil, and then it turns dirty, and I'll have to keep changing again and again. So this is one kind of method that I use to differentiate between the oils that I want to use. It's the same oil, but I poured it into a dirty lid versus a clean lid, just for me to pick up oil according to the color tones that I am using. And you will see that I will start using some darker tonalities also along with the lighter tonalities. And the palette, again, I tend to use the same palette for multiple paintings, but I also use it for the benefit that I can see the colors that I had built before and try to rebuild it if I need to. So it looks dirty, but there is some space, and I will keep on using it. And what I use is this use and throw palette, paper palette. So these are sheets of paper that can be just torn off and thrown away when they are really full of paint. Versus this If you are fine with the wooden palette or anything that is not plastic, avoid plastic as much as possible, and try to use something like wood or metal, or even try to use a glass. That's even more helpful. A lot of people that use a simple glass plane as a mixing medium, it's transparent, isn't it? From behind you can see, and you can clearly see the color tones that you're using. So that is really very helpful if you are using a glass palette. So that is all about the things that we have and the color tonalities and what we could use and what not. So let's jump into the class 8 activity right away. I am going to find some black, some white. I usually have two types of black with me. One is called ivory black. I think most of you would have ivory black in your palette. There's something called Mars black also. And one might think, black is black. How different are they? There is difference. Most of you would have ivory black, and that's why I also want to pick up ivory black. And why am I picking up black? This is because I'm just going to rework on the eye. I'm going to do a little bit of the hair because this canvas is now dry. So I'm going to do a little bit on that. But then remember, our hair color, eye color, we say that it is black for some of us, but it is not really blacky black. It will have a slightly down tonality. Maybe it doesn't look like gray though, but it could be one step down to this ivory black, if I may, say so. So to this black, I would also try to add one more color, and it could be, it's funny, even green works well. When you mix slightly a green, then the black turns slightly different. And when you mix brown with black, again, slightly different tonality. So this is something we're going to see right away. So let me start taking up a little bit of black. And when I say slightly, little bit, I use these terms frequently. So I'm just going to show you what is little bit according to me. And can you see? Yeah. That is it. That's more for me. Yeah. I wouldn't try to take more of it unless and until it's really necessary. So that's what I'm looking at when I mean slightly, a little bit. And when you're actually mixing, you will take only the tip of your brush to that little bit that I have put into. So you can imagine what I really mean by slightly, little bit, and so on when it comes to oil colors. So let's go back and pick up the brown. I've got the Van Dyke brown. Isn't that the same that I used all over? So let's take that. And I will continue to use that brown mixed with slightly a bit of black to make the eye color and the hair color. So I'm going to do that slightly, meaning that is it. Slightly. Okay. So I have brush number 1 with me. If you're having brush number 2, that is fine for now. And the dirty oil metal I have, that's where I am dipping my brush lightly into. And then I'm trying to take, if you see, I'm still looking at the picture. And trying to take the brown. I'm putting it here. And slightly, meaning the tip of my brush goes inside and it comes out here. So the brown gets darker, and it's a little bit confusing whether it's a black or brown. And that's exactly where I want to go to. So I'm trying to see if that is fine and making some more parts of it. Mm-hmm. I think for now this is convincing for me in natural color. Um, I am not putting on any light or anything against this because I want to see how the color looks in the natural light in my room. So I've got the color. So I'm convinced that this is slightly closer to what I see in the picture. And again, if you are not convinced with the picture, go back to the original. If you cannot, if you have printed like me, it's always good to go back to the file that I have given to expand it even further and see clearly how it looks. And we can also do that in the middle of the process. Yeah. So right now we are ready to paint away. Yes. So I am starting with the eye again and looking at the eyeball of the baby and seeing where do I need corrections to be made or are things fine. And I would try to do that accordingly. So the white space that I left where it's catching the light, I'm not going to paint much on that. It's not that, you should not paint again on it. You can paint over, you can always paint over on top of it. So if you see, it's only my tip of my brush that has the oil color and nothing else. I'm trying to see if I can get to that tonality. So I did that here and I'm doing it here as well. It's slightly getting darker now. One more tonality darker. Do we have it? Kind of. We still will go on, yeah. We'll go on with the tonality adjustments and so on. But now I am trying to do the eye lid as well. And the lines where there are under the eye where there is a stronger black line. There is, because of the eyelid. She's looking at us fully, isn't it? So the eyelid is folded fully. So that was a line that we never did when we did the first 2-3 layers. So I'm doing that and it's slightly there. It's just, it's just there. There you go. On top of the line that we put for the eye. And do not worry if there are, lighter spots in between. There are lighter spots in between where the eyelash is, and because we have not done the eyelash. So there are lighter spots, but do not worry too much about it now. We are just going to do the darker spot. So versus what we have been doing before. Last few classes, we focused on starting with the light and going towards the dark. And we could also start with that today, to start with the white and so on. But today I want to show you when we start with the darker tonality and get to the lighter tonality, how does it work? I think it's all the same, but still, just for you to understand the differences and how how both of them could help you achieve, as long as you are very sure of the dark and light tonalities. That's exactly why I want to do it differently from what I've been doing in the previous classes. Do we have her eyelid? Kind of covered. And I did, there's this part, where the eyes come, the edge that's close to the nose. There will be one section that is slightly darker. So we have also addressed that. We have addressed this, and then look at this. There's this curve also, nice curve that you get. I did that. So now we are coming close to the eyelid part, which is okay. Is she talking to you? Okay, good. So I guess I will stop with that shade now and let it sit, and then start moving into the eyebrows. Do we do the eyebrows slightly? That's an interesting portion. For the eyebrows, remember, it's not a line that you would draw. We did draw a line, or the curve that we did to show the eyebrow, that was just for the shading purpose. But in reality, now with the fourth layer, you will not do what do you call a line or a curve, because you understand here that it's actually, how is your eyebrow looking like? Just think of it, touch it and see. These are hair again, very tiny bit of hair strands grouped or shaped in a form by nature, and that's what we call eyebrow, isn't it? So remember that. So what I'm going to do is that, okay, I'll show you very close to the camera. I'm holding the tip of the brush where the color is, so nothing else. If you see, this metal part is clean, it's clean. You cannot have colors dripping over and painting along. It could be risky. So I'm just having this clean and only the tip having the color to go over. And remember, we are going to make, I will just put it on a white paper for you to show how I'm going to do. So this is what I'm going to do. Can you see the stroke? So there's going to be some more strokes like this to make it look like a hair that is formed into eyebrow. This is what I'm going to do here. Slightly. And do not worry if it is getting too dark, because we are going to use the skin tone again and go over slightly in some places when we do the lighter spots, isn't it? So if it's getting too dark, no problem. We are going to work on it anyways. So stop doing the coloring or the blocking. We did the blocking, that's done. This is not a blocking series anymore. We are out of the blocking method. Now we are into building the reality. So this is where we are going to work on a little more of the detail. And this eyebrow, I tell you, it's again underneath the hair in the real picture. So again, we will do the imagination. So for this eyebrow on her left side, we made right movements, right angled movements. So now we will do left movements. Very slight. That's what I did. Any other darker place that you can think of on the face? Yes, there is. Her nose. Again, I think the whole of the nose can be slightly smaller, and I will adjust it when I do the lighter tone, but I'm just doing the darker tone. Right in between her lips. Remember, we talked about the lips coming closer to each other. When the lips touch each other, there is this place in between the lip that goes dark, and we can use this darker tonality again to do that section. And you will be amazed because we have not done much in terms of volume. We have only started with the darker tonality, and the look of the baby is changing drastically already, isn't it? That's what the power of darker tonalities are. So just be careful how much you use. Slightly, lightly, whatever I say, but just make it as less as possible on the canvas. So we don't need too much yet. So I did that. My lips. And remember, it's not a straight line that I drew, across her lip. If I have to put it, it's a flattened M. Just imagine the letter M that is run over by your car tire and it is flat. So imagine something funny like that to think of the lip. That's what I teach when I tell the kids. And I'm now going over the section of her ear where there is a little bit dark. Slightly one dark tonality here. Did that. That's it. So technically, haven't done much, but I have now tried to establish some more of the darker spaces. Okay, are we ready to go on to the hair? I'm going to pull it down a little bit. I'm not tall enough. So okay, this is where we focus more on the hair. What did we say about the hair? Do you remember from the previous classes? We had talked about how the angles are going around her head with the hair. And it's also a tension created in the hair because of a clip or rubber band or something in both sides of her head. So we need to keep all those tensions in mind, okay? And that's what we did also when we were blocking, but not too much into the detail. But now we are getting to that angle, very important angle. So right now, I am starting with this section. So again, there will be lighter tonalities here as well. Can you see there are light catching on the head? We will do that as well. But let's just focus on getting the angles right for the darker tonalities. So I'm just taking one curve up there, and then remember the band has caused the fold of her hair, which we couldn't do justice to because we were more involved in painting the background. So right now I'm doing that properly. So I have that. And see, so I am on the left side of the baby. So towards the left ear, what are all the extra things that we could have done there are hair strands coming across. These are smaller hair strands, so we could start placing them also. But remember, no thick lines. We don't need thick lines. Hair strands are smaller, thinner. So let's have them there. Yeah, and need not necessary that you're copying every single line here, but just for you to understand how the hair movements are, especially when it comes to the head of the baby. So we want to understand certain things. If you are convinced with using different shapes of hair and telling the story clearly, then you can stop. You don't have to do every single strand here. But I'm just trying to do some of the strands that I see that have come out. I'm not going to do all of it again. So I did that next to her ear. Sorry, I did that, and I did this. I guess I am okay with the key stroke that I wanted to put on the side of her left ear, at least for now. So now I go on to doing the left side of her head, the hair. Again, in between this, there are some hair strands coming up, brushing past. So I've got this. And this is where it helps when we have to go back to the head, because every single hair, when it is pulled from your head, the front of the head will have that pull showing. It's very minute, but you don't need to show everything, but slightly you want to show that. Okay, I guess I have done that. Now can we go? There's some hair that is coming out, piping out here as well. Oh my goodness. Lovely. We have that, and these strokes are hair strands going in this direction. Not doing much. It looks like blocking for now because I will use the lighter tonalities to do the hair. And there's also one approach to doing the hair with longer hairs and so on, doing it in hair locks. So if we have to bunch this on top of her head, I would say there is one lock of hair going in this direction, there's one going in the opposite direction underneath, and then the last lock, the bigger lock, not too big, but then coming at the back of her head. So at least to simplify that, let's do that plain to have it fulfilled. Yeah, and because I used the brown with the black, it is still on the browny side. And this is what I also wanted, because when it is in between, remember the medium tone always helps. You can always wave it up or down, the tonality up or down by adding darker or lighter tonalities, very simple ones, white and black. Yeah. So I'm doing the in-between ones. Seeing this. Okay. Now I get to see the hair strands coming out on this section as well. Oh, yay. She's been busy. Yeah. Okay. To a certain extent. Fine. This is the difficult area, isn't it? There's so much going on. And there are hair strands falling in front of her head as well. So where do we start attacking? Can we do just like the way we did the tension near the hair band or the clip? There is some clip sort of a thing here. So there is tension. So I'm going to build this as one lock here, and then there is another lock of hair going that way. So I'm not coming near the near this portion where the hair is going to fall on her head. I'm going away from that. I'm trying to see these sections. Okay, these sections are okay. Got that. And it is a little bit of a challenge because right behind this hair lock, there is a couch that is dark. So it's kind of muddled up. But if you can see some of the strands coming out comfortably, you can try to do that. And this is where I said try to take a look at the picture again. If you have downloaded and printed off, try to look at the downloaded file on your computer, laptop, mobile phone, whatever. Try to expand this spot to see more of the strands. Okay. And some of them here. So I haven't done the clip or rubber band or whatever yet, but I'm just imagining where they are and trying to show the tension in the hair caused by those elements. Fair enough. Now can we try to go again into the center part, the most interesting part, which we haven't been able to touch upon for a long time. So I'm going in here. So this is where the hair strands are coming close to her eyebrows. So be careful, slow and steady, nice and easy. No need to stress yourself out. Enjoy this process of, she's having fun, isn't it? So enjoy this process of painting this fun-filled child. Okay, I've got some of the strands, not all of them. Some of them are falling in this angle, so I'm going to do that. There are strands falling from different angles into her forehead. Just see whichever lines that you can catch. Maybe not all of them, but some of them. So I've got a bunch. If I have to tell you how I'm trying to divide these falling strands, are that, right from the middle of her head, there are bunches falling to our left side or to her right, and bunches falling over to her left. So I'm trying to do that. And then there are hair strands coming over, pulling over this angle as well. It's looking like it's the same, but it's not. I can see that it is coming from different angles towards, close to her eyebrow here. So I'm trying to do that. And remember, when you do that, also the ones that are near the ears, there are very tiny strands near the ears. So do that. Then, if you are looking at the other side, those are not locks as such because they are tiny strands falling, but they are, falling off. Use the prominent ones to draw now. We will go over one more layer of detailing. So we will come up to that detail as well. And it will start making more sense when we start introducing the lighter tonalities, isn't it? I'm doing this section because the hair is falling in these angles as well. So, oh, yeah. That's a lot of activity on her head. It's been busy. Yes. Can we try doing the lighter tonalities now? So for that, the magic color that we use is white. Surprise. You need not necessarily, you can also use skin colors. It doesn't hurt to bring out the lighter tonalities. You can always do that. It's also fine. So I am going to keep this brush away. And I will go to brush number 2, I think. Yeah. Brush number 2. I'm taking a bit of the white. And remember, I have another metal lid where there is a little bit of clean oil, which I will use to touch upon. So I'm going to do the lighter shades. Again, can we start with the eye? So inside the eye, the spot, I'm working on the right eye of the baby. The spots where there is white. And now I move on to the left eye. So I've not done anything on the inside of the, the eyeball yet. Because I will come back to that later. And right now, so the reason why I used another brush is that I will always go back to using the brush number 1 with the darker tonality. Keep it ready. It doesn't mean that you're going to put it for rest, because this is where you are blending things or merging things around. I see this stroke, and then the stroke where the eye, the flesh of the eye, it's coming around. So I'm doing that. And over here also I check on the spacing, if I have to do a little more of this, and adjusting here and there. It is fine for now. I'm going back with the white again, only trying to make some shades into the darker tonalities that I did. Okay, where do we start with? Do we start with the 3 bunches, 3 locks of hair that we talked about? So we start here. And do not worry if it is whitey white, because we are going to use the other brush very soon. So this bunch, I'm just using the white wherever I want. Okay, I have done that. And then the other bunch also I have started off with the white, leaving it there. Now if you go back and blend these and start making it look like hair strands, thin them out, there will always be another layer coming up of detailing. So don't worry if it is coming patchy, it's fine. If you are able to blend them into thin lines and make it look like hair lock has a logic also. Some of the lock you start in one direction and then go in the opposite direction to end that lock. So do not do from start to finish. Do from the edge to middle and the opposite edge to middle, and it always helps doing it that way. So I'm just doing it like this, only to the middle of the lock and leaving it, and then I will take a little more of the black, not little more, sorry, tiny bit of the black. So this is the real black, the ivory black that I did not use directly on. So I'm using them in the opposite angle. So there you go. I did that black. That was one lock. I'm going to go over the same technique for the other locks. Today it looks like we will be focusing more on this, isn't it? But this is fun. So I'm taking the black, and see, it helps to have the canvas dry. Otherwise, there's no way to place the hand. Some of you that are comfortable with using the hand away and only the brushes tip touching, this is fantastic. You can do it, then it's fine. If not, you will need the support of placing your hand somewhere. There is also another technique that I teach, and I think most of the artists also have more equipment to do that. But the very simple one is to place a ruler or something like this where you can rest your hand. So you're not touching on the face of the child, you're working on the and if you look at the angle, I have not placed it exactly on top of the canvas. I have placed it in a way it is diagonal, so it's not touching totally on the canvas, while I can place my hand on this face and work on this detail. Yeah. So this is also another way to do. And remember to switch between the brown and the black wherever you think it deserves to be highlighted a little blacky or brown or whatever. It's not fully black though. So I have done these 3 locks to a certain extent, and it still shows the white slightly, and that's what I wanted it to show on this side. And now I'm going to go over the white again. Maybe it's not shown prominently as these, like these locks, but the other locks also have white, okay, slightly. So here there is the bend of this hair that is showing slightly or catching the light. There's something here catching the light. I'm seeing. So this is the white, or this is the light that is falling on the hair, that is giving you different tonalities. So be aware of that. Not too much of light catching on the left side of her face, because again the light comes from the right side of her face, isn't it? So there's not too much here, something, but not too much here. You're lucky here, but more on the right side of her face, or to our left side. There's more to work on. We'll do that. I have done this white, and when I do the white, I'm not worrying too much, because I will again use my the brush that has been that I've been keeping ready for the black or the brown, depending upon what color tonality that you want to show more prominently. I'm doing that. Bring it down. Okay. So as compared to the previous layer, where it was much easier, that you were just going over doing one color on one particular plane or space, this is a lot of dimensions and detailing that we are working on. So just take it slow. It will come. Now I'm working on the strands on her face. And I use the black also wherever needed. And if you see, I'm going over the brown lines that I did to enhance the lines or the hair strands. And I'm not doing it fully again, repeating those hair strands. It's just that, slightly giving the touch of black in the places I feel they need. Yeah. Okay, we are going to this section where there's a little more of white. Can I show you how much white? So I'm just going to, don't panic if you see me doing too much of white, but we're going to get that. So I see, this strand catching light, isn't it? So I'm going to put a lot of white here. And there is a section which we cannot see much, but there is one, just like the way the hair is jumping out of her band, there is some movement there, but you cannot see much of it. And then the strands that are coming out here. Can you see each strand is having a white or a shine to it? So this is a little bit of a challenge, but this is where we are also learning, isn't it? The strands are done. Okay. So now for the black brush again. If you want to use the brown, or if you think it's more blacky, it is fine to pick up anything that is viable, or that is, that's making sense to you, to go over these sections again because we used a little larger patch of the white. We don't need to do that way. So I'm just going to go over those lines, very, very thin strands. Okay. Now they don't look that white anymore. Purpley. And look at this. Huh? Do we have it? Okay. There are very thin hair strands near her ear here as well. So just be careful on that. It doesn't look like a huge lock or something, but small little hair strands moving around. Okay, I think it is time to at least block the rubber band here. It is purple color. I think she's got a purple color band. At least to my eyes, it looks like purple. She's got one here, and there is one. There is still something that we need to figure out. Ask her what exactly that is. She's got one here. I'm blocking that, but I will change the color of it. As we go along, no problem. For now, I just want to block it as a lighter tonality. So to a certain extent, we have done the darker and lighter tonalities on the hair, which we didn't do much in the last layers. Last layers, we just did a one block color, just marking it somewhere. Now we have worked a little more into the detail of it. So, let me see. So it's up to you to just, say this is where I'm going to stop, or I'm not saying stop the whole painting, stop with the hair. We can do few more detailing into the hair in the next layer. So as we grow into the layers, it might not be that we are filling too much, but we are working on certain details only. Just looking at, I want to use some nice curvy angles that she's got, very thin strands, if you can see behind, totally invisible. But I like it. So I'm just having some of them made. Okay. That is about it on the hair area. In the face where we have added slightly onto the darker or the black or the brown, we will go over the sections in detail again to do the lighter tonalities and where the light is catching, just like the way we added white here. There are light catching on her face as well. So we'll also do that. But before that, because we have a bit more of the browny black, I'm just looking at sections where it could go. Like for example, underneath her cheek, very close to the shirt, isn't it more darker? So I'll make it darker. And again, it's up to you to look at where we are with the darker tonalities, how dark it is to do this dark. And the shirt, the curve that is, caused because of the collar of the shirt has some darkness, very thin ones that I want to establish. Around her neck. So that's one I noticed. And I want to use this dark blacky brown that we made for the places where there is a shadow caused because of her shirt in her left arm. So I'll carefully do that, very thin line. And here, there is another technique if you do not want to wait until the next class for the lighter, because it's looking like we drew it, it's not a perfect line. The technique is to take an earbud and go over it slightly to blend it down to the other area so it doesn't look like a line. So I'm just blending it down. You can see that it's stopping to look like I drew it, and so this is also another approach that we could do. If you have a dry canvas, if it is wet, I think the blending will be even more easier to use another clean brush to just go in small, very tiny angular movements. So you can use the brush, or you can use, like I did, the earbud to do that. So this darker portion I have addressed. Any other space underneath the shirt and the space where the shirt is hiding most of her right hand. Those are more darker, isn't it? So let's do that. Again, the same way, using an earbud if you want to blend it, so it doesn't look like a line. And in the process of blending, if you have accidentally made the whole hand black, do not worry. We will have a chance to adjust that as well. It won't, but it could be possible that you're using it really in a huge movement. Again, very small movement helps. Okay, so those are the sections that I thought could be gone through again for the darker tonality. So we have done that. Good. So I guess it's been a bit of a uphill for today's class for most of you that are trying to do the hair strands and wondering, oh my God, there's so much, there's still so much. I'm still having the tendency to go over and over again, but I will stop for you. So let's just summarize what we did today. We started the fourth layer of painting, but we wanted to try the dark to light tonality movement. So we have chosen the darker tonalities to start with. I had taken my Van Dyke brown and I did take ivory black. And if you see, I've got so much left still. So I haven't used much, really, only the tip of my brush. So we saw the importance of having the clean brush and only the tip of the brush having the color. And we did do her hair strands, segmenting them into locks. It is slightly a challenge because it's not a what do you call it? Baby's hair falls in different directions. So as much as possible, we try to divide it into locks where we were focusing on the locks and doing our best. And we also did her eyebrow and the eyeball where there is a darker tonality. So we did that. Whatever was there with respect to the body where there could be a pronounced darker tonality, we try to address that. We have done that. Maybe we can do a little more on the hand as well, like this, just like this, in sections where the fingers come closer. So there will be a similar space where it is very dark. So we can do that. So remember that. That's one possibility. Maybe they are not that dark, but just look at the possibility and see if you can do that. We did that. So I guess this is where we stop with class 8, and then we will move on to doing maybe something lighter if you feel it's too stressful to do. We will work on the background a bit as well if you want, and then move on to doing the face and her hands one more time in another level of detail. So that's what we are going to do in our next class. Thank you very much for watching this, and if you are reaching this far, this is an amazing thing. You must be sharing it also with us in the comments. Please do that. I would like to see how you've been progressing, and congratulations, because this is as a beginner, this is also a tougher challenge that you have picked up. So congratulations to you for that, and wish you to be with us with this painting for a few more hours, a few more classes to see the finish line and put your name out there as the artist. So thank you very much. Bye bye.